So I'm going to open up Simulink in order to do some basic math. And the way that you get to Simulink, once you open up the Matlab interface, this is the screen you'll see. You're going to want to go to New up in the top left, and then select Simulink Model. See that start loading is the first screen you'll see after that, and you're going to want to select Blank Model and let it load. So let's say that I want to create something in Simulink which adds one number to whatever input I give it. So the way I'm going to do that is by going up to this icon right here, which is 4 squares. The bottom left is red, the bottom right, or rather top right, is blue. I'm going to select it. You can see, if you're using a Mac, you're going to see this little watch appear. So I'm going to drag in a variety of blocks from the Simulink library browser. The first one is a constant block found in the commonly used blocks tab. I'm going to drag that in and let go of the mouse to place it. The next thing I'm going to want to drag in is a function in the user defined functions tab. I'll find that up in the top left. I'm going to drag that into my model. And the final block I'm going to drag in is a display block. After all these are positioned in whatever manner you want, really, in the Simulink work plane, you're going to connect the three of them by clicking on the triangles attached to each Simulink block, pressing and holding, and then connecting them to the next one. Now let's double click into the function block. This is what you're going to see is this random bunch of numbers and symbols, mathematical symbols. So I'm going to delete this. What I'm going to do is change it to something simple. My input's u, so I'm going to say u plus 1. Whatever runs through this function block, the number 1 will be added to it. So I'm going to press OK. Afterwards, I'm going to go up here where there is a play button. If I scroll over, it says run. I'm going to press it. See that my Simulink model starts to load or compile. And now if I look in the display block, you're going to see the number 2 because 1 plus 1 is 2. I could go ahead and I could change the constant. Let's say that I want to add or put in a 5 there. Press OK. Once again, I can go up here to the play button, press play, and you'll see that in my display block now there is the number 6 because 5 plus 1 is 6. So now I'm going to use a Matlab function block, and the difference with that is that I can write more than just one line of code. I'm going to go to the Simulink library again, the library browser, select the user defined functions tab, drag in a Matlab function block. And what I'm going to do then is delete this middle section of the model that we were working on before by highlighting it all and then pressing delete. And then I'm going to slide in the Matlab function block and connect the arrows just like I did before. You'll see that if I move into the space between the constant and Matlab function, a blue arrow appears. I'm just going to click that to connect the blocks. And with this other one, I'm going to scroll over the Y icon with my mouse. You'll see this plus sign appear. I'm going to press and hold and connect it to the display block. Next thing I'm going to do is double click into the Matlab function block, and you're going to see this screen right here. It's called Matlab Function. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to delete this bottom portion here and just write an end. I'm going to clean up my function so that it's ready to actually produce what I want the magic box to produce, which is a +1 symbol. So first thing I'm going to do is rename the output, and I'm going to delete the Y and call this output. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename the whole function together. I'm going to call it magic box. Then what I'm going to need to do, or I don't need to, but I'd like to do, is rename the input. I'm going to delete the U and call it input. It's time to make my function now. So I'm going to press enter. Between the end and function lines, I'm going to define my variable. It's called number. And then I'm going to have it equal to whatever input I provide into the magic box function. Then I'm going to say that the output is equal to number plus 1. You'll see that I put a semicolon at the end of things after each line. Then what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to save this function. I'm going to call this one just test function. Save it to the desktop. I can go back to my Simulink model now. And after I've saved my function, you'll see that the block now has the input and output in place. You'll see that my function is also named magic box now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this model. I'm going to type in whatever I want as the constant. I'm going to say 10. And then I'm going to press the play button at the top. You'll see that my model loads. Then in the display block, you'll see that 11 appears because within my Matlab function, double-clicking into it, you'll see that whatever number I input, there's a 1 added to it, and then that is output to the display.